Back on Sports Bit, Pauly and Teddy. Time for the deep dive. Part 2, how to beat the preseason advanced methods. This is legitimate stuff you're not going to get anywhere else. Teddy, I know you got some friends saying, don't give this out on the air. Don't give out your secrets. But we're going to do this now. Here we go, advanced methods. Number 1, threes don't mean shit in the preseason. 1 and 2s mean everything. The books price it wrong. The markets price it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, look again, what we saw last night. A team up 7 in the fourth quarter going for a 2-point conversion. You'll never see that in the regular season. Coaches will do anything they can to avoid overtime, and yet the markets are obsessed with threes, the way the markets are always obsessed with threes in the NFL. Threes don't mean squat in the preseason. They really don't. There's a huge difference between -1 and -2.5 in the preseason. In the regular season, that's worth maybe 20 cents. 20 cents in the preseason, it's worth more. You're going to see games land on 1. You're going to see games land on 2. Pay attention. August numbers are different than September numbers. Don't worry about the 3. You can bet games at 2.5. You can bet games at 3.5. But make sure you capture the best of the number when it comes to pick 'em. -1, -1.5, -2, -2.5. Those numbers really matter when it comes to beating the preseason.
Talked about this earlier with the Buccaneers. Cluster injuries mean everything.
Yeah, and I think there's some confusion about what cluster injuries are. Cluster injuries doesn't mean that a team's got a whole bunch of guys banged up. It means they have a whole bunch of guys from one particular unit that are banged up. And there's 4 that I look for in the preseason in particular. I want a banged up offensive line, dead nuts bet against. Banged up defensive line, banged up secondary, banged up receiving core. Coaches will do anything to avoid more injuries at those positions, which definitely affects their game plan. If you find situations with cluster injuries at any one of those positions, OL, DL, cornerback/safety, wide receiver, that team immediately becomes a bet against squad moving forward until they get healthy. So it's not overall injuries, it's injuries at any one given position. Look here at Chicago. Their offensive line is the most recent example of cluster injuries really being a negative factor for any particular ball club.
Number 3, don't make the mistake of looking at the starting quarterback battles. The markets tend to do that as well. Focus on who's going to be the backup. Look at those, who's fighting for that backup spot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, suckers focus on the starting quarterback battles. Yeah, okay, I know. Sanchez is battling against Simeon, and Denver won and covered. That doesn't mean that the Broncos are going to move forward winning and covering ball games. What's the theme that we've talked about on SportsBit? We're talking about point spreads get decided after halftime, generally. So, when you have a battle for the backup quarterback job, someone's going to be on the sidelines in headphones, and someone's going to be deactivated every Sunday and sitting in street clothes. Okay? Makes a big difference between the 2 and the 3. And in terms of where you're moving in the NFL hierarchy, a huge difference. So you love passes being thrown after halftime by 2 guys who are really playing for something. Competitive third-string quarterback battles are also something to pay attention to, and mobile quarterbacks are money. Let's not forget, when you're talking about the fourth quarter of these games, heck, the receivers barely know the routes, the third-string offensive line stink, there's not much timing in the passing games, so a quarterback that can create a first down with his feet, those type of QBs are worth their weight in gold. Look at Seattle, a classic example. They brought in Trevon Boykin and Vernon Adams because both have the capacity to make plays with their feet the same way that Russell Wilson does.
Number 4, very hard to beat totals.
Yeah, I don't play many totals in August. It takes something special for me to get involved. I need a team that has all their cornerbacks out and an opponent that wants to throw downfield to bet an over. And week 3 overs, sometimes you can get involved with. But again, there's got to be good rationale behind it. Week 1 unders is the conventional wisdom. But I'm telling you, Pauly, I'll bet sides in the preseason. There's a ton of randomness in totals. And week 4 is pretty much the same way. When it comes to week 4 and nobody's playing anyone and it's all backups and third stringers and guys fighting for the last job, I'm lucky if I find 1 or 2 good bets in week 4. I'm happy when I find 1 or 2 good bets in week 4. The time to beat preseason is really the first 3 weeks.
Number 5, understanding coach speak.
Yeah, and this is, we talk about the nuance of August, and this is not something you're going to really be able to pick up in one day or 1 week or even one preseason. But over time, as you try to read between the lines of what the coaches were saying. It's something we talked about again on yesterday's Sportsman Show, trying to read between the lines of what Belichick was saying and what he was thinking. And lo and behold, we ended up getting a point spread cover on New England as a result of the nuance of what Belichick was saying. Remember, there's coaches who are going to be saying, oh, I'm really pissed off because we had a bad showing from the first stringers. That coach still might not care about winning the game. He just wants to see the first string look better. Remember, I'm going to say it over and over again, point spread outcomes are usually determined after halftime, and understanding the coach speak, learning to translate the coach speak, goes a long, long way towards getting the better sides in the second half of these ball games.
Last one, if you're laying more than 2 points, you better have some good reasons for doing so.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a number of teams we talk about that are going to be bet on, and there are a number of teams that we talk about in any given week that are going to be bet against. But if you're laying points and more than a point or two in the preseason, you got to have both. You know, you can't just have a bet on situation to lay 3.5. You can't just have a bet against situation and lay 4.5. You need bet on and bet against in the same game, which is, of course, how we got to our play of the day.
Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
So we're giving you picks every day, and you're probably making your own as well. Be sure to participate in SBR's weekly Twitter Bankroll Challenge. Just post your picks on Twitter with @SBRSportsPicks and the hashtag BetSBR before 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day, Monday through Friday. We'll be betting your picks, and if the bankroll is positive at the end of the week, you could win the profits. Picks must be of events taking place that day and available in at least one of the major sportsbooks shown in our Best Sportsbooks page.